Okay, ready?
Okay, we're gonna go on 4 technically, right?
Yes.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Yay!
We
did it!
Here!
We
We
did
did
We
it!
successfully clapped.
Wow, that's never happened before.
That's never happened.
Maybe,
It happened once. I think the
or
second
like
episode.
twice.
Yeah. And then we were also surprised then, and then it just stopped happening.
Wow. It's because we're on episode 11 now, so we're professionals.
That's true. We're in the, I was gonna say double digits, but we are in the consecutive double digits area.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Afterschool Special Club podcast. Ooh.
I'm Mary.
And I'm Chris.
And we're going to talk about a lot of things today. Mainly about games. Mostly. Actually,
that's
games.
surprising.
Yes. Usually we just veer off into the road, off-roading. We go off-roading with the podcast. It's like, is this a gaming podcast or is this more just like a... Yeah.
I tell people it's a gaming podcast, and then if they check it out, they're probably like, where's the games?
It's like, why do they talk so much about butts and vaginas and titties? And I'm like, that's what sells.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Also, sorry we didn't have an episode last week. We were both suffering. So we took a week off.
Yeah, I had the plague.
Yep.
The black plague.
I had the white plague.
Oh, I didn't know the variant.
But yeah. It was pretty good, actually.
Nice. Yeah, mine was pleasant.
Yeah, besides the part where I couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah.
Because my feet fell off.
Mm-hmm. Did you just reattach? That's what I did in mine. I just sewed them together.
Yeah. I popped mine on like a Bratz doll. I was like, a little ball into the socket.
Yeah. Rotate it.
See, we're already not talking about video games.
All right. We're going to talk about 2 things in specific. I guess 2, like, we should talk about what you want to talk about first. And then we can go into what I want to talk about. And then we can go into what they want to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to open the floor up to you.
Yeah. So.
Well, first of all, before we even talk about what I want to talk about, can we talk about talking about...
Are you sure we know how to talking about this?
I just wanted to say how underwhelming the state of play was.
Oh,
I was hoping it would be state of yay.
No.
But it was not.
It was state of
gray.
State of gray. Yeah, it was. I knew going into it that it was just going to be mainly Deathloop that they talked about, which I was excited for anyway because Deathloop looks amazing. So I knew it was going to look amazing, and I already knew that I was going to be pumped for that. But I was expecting, because they said indie, third party, games that are in development. I was like, yay! State of yay. Nope. Very underwhelming.
Yeah, it was a lot of like multiplayer and like PvP games, which like is not my shtick.
Mm-hmm. Neither is my shtick.
So I was very underwhelmed. Although I will say the Dying Light footage was great.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Dying Light.
Yeah,
Deathloop. Sorry.
It's like I already knew what you were trying to say.
Well, because you're watching me try to pull up what I want to talk about on the screen because I was not prepared. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Deathloop footage was really great, and I'm really excited to play that game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's just it's an interesting, like the dying and restarting. It's a cool mechanic, and I like the idea of trying to, reset the world or whatever. We don't really know what the goal is.
Mm-hmm.
What I gleaned from like the dialogue was like trying to break the loop.
Break that loop.
As one does when there is a loop. So I'm really interested in that. I like the mechanic of like the teleporting.
Yeah, I thought that was really impressive, especially how smooth it is. Like jumping around like that. Like I would be surprised there aren't like any more like bugs or like something to like intercept with that, but it just looks so clean.
Right. It kind of, and it reminded me, and again, like I think this is just where like the consoles are at, like with Ratchet and Clank with the portals, how smooth that transition is.
Yeah. When
you're like jumping around, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, and I feel like Deathloop does it one-ups Ratchet and Clank a little bit in that respect, because just from the gameplay trailer, like Ratchet and Clank, like there's only set places you can do it. Mm-hmm. You can't do it anywhere you want. Like you'll look around and it'll be like, oh, there's a portal I can zoom to, and then this Deathloop, I feel like that's why I was so surprised watching the State of Yay. Nope, can't call it that anymore.
State of Gray.
State of Gray. State of Gray. State of Gray. Because it looked like you could do it anywhere. Like you could just look at an area and just,
right, and be like,
yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you like throw some sort of like marker or something, and that's where you teleport to. So I'm like, that seems like it'll be really fun.
Yeah.
And I do wonder the limitations of that, like if it will be, because I mean, again, like games are just at that point where it's like anywhere in the environment looks like somewhere where you can traverse for the most part. Like I feel like there's definitely tells in design where it's like, oh, I can't go that way, but I can go here.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's definitely less like garden pathy than historically it has been. So I do wonder like if you really can just kind of like teleport anywhere, or if it's going to be like there's limitations, or if it's going to be like Skyrim where you have to jump backwards up hills sometimes to climb over.
One could hope.
One can only hope you're teleporting backwards. So I'll be really interested to see. It looks really fun, and I'm excited. And I think it's coming. I hope it comes out on PS4 because again, can't get a PS5.
Yeah, it's so hard to get PS5s. Yeah,
and I keep trying. Yeah. One day.
I feel like it's like the white whale. Like it's a lot of people's white whale right now. Trying to get a PS5 or an Xbox or an Nvidia. Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, so Deathloop looks cool, and then all the multiplayers, if you're into multiplayers, you might want to check it out. Yeah. Because if you like that kind of thing, seems like there's a lot of choice this year and upcoming for multiplayer games. I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon. I'm driving on another road. Yeah. I'm in the single player lane. I'm like, I'm driving down this road.
I'm carpooling. I'm in the carpool lane.
Yeah.
It's just me. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, like I try to change my language around being like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, because the reality is like I haven't really played many multiplayer games, so I feel like I can't really be like, oh, I don't like that. Yeah. But because I had a friend at work before they left we were talking about that, where he and I were both like, oh yeah, like I don't like this or I don't like that, but it was more like we were like, no, like I love all video games and I appreciate all video games because of the amount that goes into them. Like I would hate to be like, this sucks. You know what I mean? It's just like I haven't tried it yet. Maybe there is a multiplayer game out there somewhere that I would like that I have not found yet.
Yeah, that's true. I like fighting games. Yeah. That's it. But not Smash.
But not Smash.
That's the one thing. That's the one rule that like I know I tried with Smash. It's a hate relationship. But
I've also tried with Smash.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. What I wanted to talk about was Dying Light 2. Because I am so on board with this game, and I'm super excited for it to come out. And they've been doing a showcase called Dying to Know, which I love that.
That's amazing.
Which also, like, if you guys haven't seen it, you should go watch them because the production quality on them is so good. Like, this set that they're on is clearly very expensive. Yes. And, like, very well thought out. Like,
well, and then it's like, it also looks like the interviewer is separated from the person they're interviewing. Like, they're just, like, CG'd in. It's so cool.
But
it looks like a place I would want to live.
Right, I'm like, can I live on this set? Yeah. But yeah, so they were talking a lot about like the monster design in this episode. I guess like every episode is going to kind of be more about like a certain design aspect of the game is what I gleaned from it. But they were talking a lot about like the monster design, and I have the video pulled up on YouTube because I'm trying to scrub through because I haven't watched it recently. I watched it when it came out.
What I really, really like about it, just in general, like, you know, not even diving deep into it, like, I love and appreciate how far they're going into it. Yes. With, like, making sure that the players know exactly what they're getting. They know exactly what they're signing up for with the game. Yeah. A lot of times, you'll get a game, you'll get a pre-release or whatever, you'll pay that price, and then you'll end up playing a game, and you're like, I actually don't like this, and I spent $70 on it. Right. But I really appreciate games that, like, really go into the deep end with like, this is exactly what it's going to be like. But of course they don't spoil anything. Right. Like, in that I also appreciate.
Oh, this is cool. I love when videos do this. They have the timestamp what each section of the video is about.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, they talked a lot about like the design of the monsters and like how they I guess like came up with them and like the nature of the different monsters, because they showed gameplay footage. And you get to see like there's like different kinds of monsters. There's more like agile, like speedy ones, and there's the more like tanky, like big buff like monsters. And what was really fascinating about it that I liked from the interview with the devs was that they were talking a lot about how they like the research that goes into it, because I don't think that a lot of people actually understand the full depth of what goes into like character modeling or like monster design, even in sound design too, because they touched at the end on like the sound design and how a lot of the sound effects, just like how they came up with like a whip cracking sound or like a snarling, like biting, gnawing kind of sound. And it's just really cool because like I think those are things that you take for granted in your experience, like when you're playing a game or even when you're watching a movie or TV show or a cartoon or whatever, like those sort of things that enhance the experience and make it seem, you know, real or engaging. There's actually a lot of thought that goes into how those sounds or like visuals are crafted. Like they were showing for the sound design part, where I guess it was probably like one of the infected's like just like
yeah.
And it was like the guy, I forget what his position was, one of the devs, and it was just him like in a microphone like biting into an orange, being like and I was like, it's so funny to see the process, because it's like when you hear it you would never think like, oh, that's what it is. You just think it's like someone foaming at the mouth in a sound booth, but it's like that kind of stuff. Or like they were talking, I think it was this where they were talking about like a whip cracking sound, where it was like actually a composite of a bunch of different sounds. Or actually maybe I was watching something else. Just kidding, that was something else.
Well, I'm sure that like,
but my point still stands.
Yes,
because it's like because in the other thing, even though it wasn't Dying Light related, for this was a different game, but yeah, it was like it was like a composite sound where he had just like a generic like whip cracking sound, and then like he had like some other sound that was like sounds that were layered over it and like modulated, and then combined with the whip cracking sound, it made this like, you know, much more like full and like unique sounding sound effect that wasn't just generic.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like putting that much amount of detail into a game experience, especially like layering over just the generic sound and making it like unique.
Yeah,
really makes you as a player, even if you're not even if you don't know it, like even if you don't realize all the stuff's going on behind the scenes or whatever like that, like you do appreciate it in a way subconsciously. I feel like you're like, wow, like the sound design is amazing.
Yeah, and
the reason why it's amazing is because they've tailored it to how they want it to sound.
Right.
They've tailored it to the experience that they want you to have while playing this game. And I think like game developers and like people that are really going into the deep end with story design, especially like it seems like this story is like very enthralling too. I haven't played the first one. I wanted to, but anyway, I feel like they're just pulling you more in with like with the ability to do it. Yeah, like it makes it better, like all around.
Yeah, I think that attention to detail is really important because oftentimes, and like I'm not a game dev, but I feel like as a musician or just a person who's really well versed in music, I can attest to the fact that like if that attention to detail is not there, it is missed. But like people don't realize it, you know. And like for me, because I'm a musician and I'm really big into music, sound design and like score are the first parts of games that I pay attention to or that like really capture me. So it's like games that have really good sound design or that have like really captivating soundtracks just pull me in. And like, and I do have so much appreciation for like the ingenuity that goes into making those, again, like those kinds of sounds where it's like, you would never think like a person is like doing all these like weird things. Or I think they showed, again, I think it was from this, it could have been from something else I was watching about sound design, but like even the sound of like walking, it was just, they had like this like close-up shot of just somebody like grinding their boot into like sand or like gravel or something, and it's like,
I want that job. I want to be a boot.
I want to be a boot grinder.
Yeah, I'm like, is this good? Here's your $1,000 for the week.
Nice, right? It's so fascinating to me, and it's like, again, just like I have such a deep appreciation for that, and just for like attention to detail and like nuance, especially. Because another thing I'm super interested in that they touched upon was the sort of humanity of these infected, because they are people who are starting to turn. So they were talking about how like the mocapping and like the actual like physical actions of the monsters suggest at certain times that there's still like even though they're acting on instinct now because of the infection, there's still signs of humanity and there's still signs of like a human person in that body, because they will like, they were talking about one monster that will like have moments where it like retracts and like hesitates, I guess. And like that, I love that kind of nuance, because again, like that type of detail and that attention to detail is something that's definitely missed and you don't realize it.
Yeah, I mean, just like think of all the kind of, because they're like zombie-like creatures.
Yes.
So like, I think that when I think of that, I think of like Walking Dead. I think of like or like, you know, those type of creatures that don't have those skills. They're just basically monsters at that point. So I do think it's unique that a game would be like, no, like there was a whole process before they turned into this thing.
Yeah, they were people.
And let's show this process as opposed to like just night and day. Well, it's funny night and day. It's funny, I lead into that, but yeah. But I really, I could see why that's like a huge pull in for people with that attention to detail, because people do miss it because they think zombie, you know, or like zombie-like creature.
Right.
Yeah.
And that gray zone, I think, is what makes us people.
Yeah.
And so I think that in any art form, right? Like it's definitely, you feel like something is missing or something is lacking when it doesn't have nuance, because like as humans, as you know, complicated as we are, we miss, or we I think read a lot of nuance in each other without realizing it. And so it's like the ability to capture that in a video game, to be, and this isn't just for like game devs, but this goes for like writers or musicians, that ability to take a nuance of human character and translate it into something and create something that replicates it so that other people can see it and be like, oh yeah, that thing, like that feeling or that gesture or whatever. Like I think that that's really impressive. And so like I'm excited to kind of see more of that, or like to see if, you know, what the extent of it actually is in the game. So
yeah. And yeah, you touched upon like feeling, like it definitely emits a mood.
Yeah.
And like I think one way of really like pulling in a player, or to make your game stand out, because there's thousands of games that come out a year, you know, like smaller games, bigger games,
right,
that kind of thing. I feel like to really stand out, you have to pull people in emotionally.
Yeah.
Even if, you know, even like a game like Overwatch, right? Like it's not a very emotional pulling game, right? Like it's I mean, I played very little of it, but I realize that it's mainly just like a shooter game, like a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Is what you mainly do. But even if you get a feeling from it, you have an emotional reaction to it because of how like beautiful it looks.
Yes.
Like, it looks beautiful. The character models are amazing. They're some of the best character models I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the attention to detail in them makes you have a feeling towards it. And like, yeah, you're right. Like that makes the difference between a good game or a very well-made game and a game that's like, you know, sucks
titty balls.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just super excited. I'm excited to get more of these dying to knows. I'm curious. I think she said what the next one is going to be about, but I guess we'll see. I am super excited, and I hope that I don't get let down.
Yeah, I mean the marketing for this game, like it's really impressive how, like I said before, how far they're going into it, because I haven't really seen a lot of games that have gone this.
Yeah,
like these segments that are like just specifically about one game. I really can't really remember like the game before. I don't remember games.
Well, I've never played a game.
I've never played a game.
Well, and actually, I was just thinking about this as you were saying that. I feel like it's really smart. I think that a lot of times, or not, I shouldn't say a lot of times, but I feel like sometimes studios don't necessarily put as much of a budget into marketing as they should.
Yeah.
And that can make it fall short. I think that what they're doing, having this really engaging, like dying to know, they also had like a contest, they had a quiz where you can find out what monster you are, like all of this like engagement before the game even comes out, I think is really smart, because there's no physical conventions for people to go to where they can like go to a booth or like play a demo in person. Like, so I think that it's actually really smart, because there isn't a lot of face-to-face in-person like ability to sort of preview a game. It's all online, so it's like, why not put that money that you would put into like having a booth at E3 or like whatever into having a really good like online marketing campaign, really get people involved, be like, here's all these like skins, or like
my skin,
you know, this quiz, or like
I am the skin. That's my monster.
The skin.
No, it's true. definitely.
And like that, again, like I said, that set is clearly very expensive.
Yeah.
And very well designed also.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the engagement is really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, like you said earlier, I think it also does, it gets you excited, you know, and you actually kind of know what you're getting, but you're not given the full scope.
Yeah, and I feel like this is different from another game I could think of that had a lot of big hype to it and like marketing was Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
On the opposite spectrum.
In the opposite way.
Yeah, it could go really well. Where like this like watching these videos, like you really get what you get. Like they're showing you what you get.
Right.
You know, Cyberpunk, I feel like they put all the money in the marketing, but you weren't gonna get what you got.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you got something that wasn't advertised. They conveniently went around what it was actually like, where it was actually at.
Right.
And made it seem like it wasn't there anymore, but in fact, it was still in the PS2. Not PS2.
PlayStation 1.
Yeah, PlayStation 1. But it was still very behind. They hid it really well, which is like, kudos for that marketing team to hide it so well. But
right.
But also like it's damaging to the player base because they lose trust.
Right.
So I think this way, the way that they're doing it for this game, like I haven't even played the first one, and like just watching these videos because you sent me the links. That link, and I started watching into it.
Watch them.
Yeah. He had a gun to my head saying, "Watch this," and I was like, "What if I don't?" But regardless, like watching all of this made me think like, oh, this is how you do it well. Like this is
right.
the future. This is the future of like marketing and gaming.
Yeah.
Like taking it to the next level, making sure that you are unique out of thousands of voices out there on the internet and all the ways that you can do things now, and information
right.
just funneling into our brains constantly. It's like, this is how you stand out in a time where it feels like really hard to stand out.
Right.
In a positive way. So yeah, I was really impressed with everything.
And I mean, I do hope that it turns out really well, because like the thing with Cyberpunk was like, I don't think that it was like on purpose that it was so bad like on launch, but like, because I mean, like anything you watch is going to be a polished version that has no bugs. Like that's on purpose, but it's like, so it's not always going to necessarily be representative of the whole game, but it's like you would hope that you get at least a little bit close to those previews of gameplay, and like Cyberpunk was like, oh.
Yeah, because I feel like also they were pushed to come out with a game quicker than they were pushed by fans, so fans were to blame too. But it's also, I feel like they had this immense pressure on them, to like come out with this. I mean, my expectations, like just judging from my own expectations, I don't really have a lot of high expectations for things because natural pessimist, but like I had really high expectations for that game.
So did I. Yeah,
and I feel like a lot of people did. And I think partly that was to blame too.
Yeah.
But if they would have like shown more, I know they showed gameplay, but I don't think they showed gameplay on all the consoles. That's what it was. They didn't show the PS4. They showed the PC, like running on the PC.
And the PC was
spot on.
Yeah.
But even at launch. But they didn't show the PS4. So I feel like it was misleading the public in a way that was like, well, we're going to show you how it runs on optimal hardware, but on the hardware that you might not be able to get right now or have access to, or, you know, other means. We're not going to show it to you on that. But I think that was the thing they could have maybe worked on. Yeah.
Or just like, well, when did the PS5 launch?
Well, I pre-ordered it on my birthday, September 17th, 2020.
Because I was going to say, the thing is, I think it's just, like, they shouldn't, I mean, and I know that this wouldn't be an option business-wise, but they just shouldn't have released it on PS4.
Yeah.
Because it's just, like, it's that game was not designed to run on old hardware.
No. And I feel like they were trying to please the crowd.
Right.
By throwing money. Like, they probably threw money, like, to make it on PlayStation 4. They probably, like, you know, put a lot of funding in that direction in order to bring in sales. Because they probably knew ahead of time that, like, it might have been, maybe they had, like, an inside thing. They're like, it's going to be hard to get a PS5. So maybe they knew that. Going into it, like, the next-gen hardware. And maybe that's why it came into their decision. But, yeah, I think maybe, like, even if just being honest, like, by the way, like, not great on PS4.
Yeah.
Like, you might not want to get it on PS4.
I guess you can't really do that, but, you know.
Like, it sucks.
It sucks. What?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm super excited for Dying Light, and I don't know what frequency these Dying to Knows are coming out, maybe like a monthly cadence. I'm not sure, but I've been really enjoying them. So, balls in your court.
I absorbed the ball. I am the ball. Well, speaking of marketing, I've been really interested in the whole internet drama of this game called Abandoned. And it's coming out for the exclusive for the PS5. It's an exclusive PS5 game.
Yeah.
And basically when it came out, I remember seeing the trailer initially, like just watching it because I'm into horror games.
Right.
Like I suck at horror games, but I love horror games. And I love like the mood that it emits. So this game really caught my eye because it looked like PT.
Yeah.
Very similar to PT. You were like in a house. I think the first initial teaser trailer, you're in a house, you're out in the woods, you're walking around. It doesn't really tell you much because it's a teaser trailer. And all they said was it was called Abandoned. And that was it. Like that was mainly what all the information that they gave you. And then I looked into it and like I just let it sit for a bit. I was like, this game looks interesting. I'm probably gonna buy it. Yeah, I was like, I'm probably gonna buy it on day one.
Yeah.
I'm interested in it. Back of my head. A couple months later, it's like I was just reading like all these like posts online and like articles online going like, is Abandoned a Hideo Kojima production? Is it? And then I started going down the rabbit hole of that whole conspiracy theory. It's a huge conspiracy theory. And I don't necessarily believe in these conspiracy theories, but I do find them entertaining.
Oh yeah. As with most.
Yes. Because it goes deep. Like I was like funneling into it and there's so many like connections that these people made. Anyway. So, and there's also something else related to Bloober that I want to talk about. Actually, initially, first, before I go into the conspiracy theories about Abandoned. So, Bloober, who made The Medium.
Yep. And Layers of Fear.
Yes. Who is, like, Medium's a great game. Layers of Fear is a great game.
Yeah. Oof.
They're awesome. But anyway, the Bloober team, they have, like, code names, right? Where they release games throughout, like, or they have secret names for things. Yeah. Like, most game companies have this. So they had games that were coming out, Black, in quotation, H2O, in quotation, and Dumb Spyro, in quotation. So it got leaked that these games were being made. So a game called Black, even though like it wasn't the name, it's just like shoo-in, and H2O and Dumb Spyro. And
I like Dumb Spyro.
I know, me too. And then Black, it was a secret project that they thought were like a survival horror game. So people attributed Silent Hill to Bloober. And it went as far as, and this I was reading into these articles like a couple weeks ago, it went as far as like it actually being like confirmed. Like Bloober team is confirmed making Silent Hill. Yeah. And at first I was like, how that makes sense? Like with the medium and the vibe that you get from the medium, it looks very Silent Hill. So I wasn't mad. I was like,
I would buy it day one.
Yeah. And then a couple weeks later, they were like, or today they released another thing says, we are not related, like we are not at all connected to Konami in any way. We have nothing to do with Silent Hill. We are not going to make Silent Hill. This is false. Like this information is false. We are making a survival horror game,
but it's not Silent Hill.
We're not releasing anything about that yet. So it's not Silent Hill.
Wink.
And then H2O, that game, they actually found that I was just Layers of Fear 2. That's what H2O is. That was the secret name. Oh. So they actually did confirm that. It was Layers of Fear 2.
Yeah. Wait, Layers of 2. Layers of 2.
Layers of Fear 2.
Layers of Fear 2 has already existed though.
Yes. So this article.
This was like old.
Yes, they're talking. That's what they initially thought it was. Like, oh. And then. And there was the Dumb Spyro.
Oh my god.
That they actually canceled. They canceled that game because it was Dumb Spyro is actually like a World War II game.
Oh.
Like something like the Polish, like you play as like.
They are Polish.
But that's where that game, I guess, came into play. I don't know why they call it Dumb Spyro, but anyway, regardless.
I want to know who's naming these secret projects.
Me too. That would be a good like job too.
Namer.
I think yes. Good. Bottle.
Buttocks.
Buttocks 2. It's the first. There's not even a sequel. So anyway, so that was just setting up for like how much people like want a Silent Hill. They want it so badly to where they've been attributing these companies that aren't even involved at all into it. And they just want PT to happen. So that's where the desire is coming from, that I feel like all this conspiracy theory is funneling around. It was interesting that Bloober team got involved somehow. And the internet was like, you're making this.
You're making Silent Hill.
And Bloober's like, no.
No, we're not.
We're not. Not at all. Stop.
Wink.
Yeah. They're like, everyone's like jumping on the train, the hype train, like give us more exposure.
The next state of play, it's like Silent Hill by Bluebird.
Yeah, and you're like, hey,
hey.
Bluebird's like, oh, we just didn't. Our bad.
Did we do that?
But anyway, so this game Abandoned, going back to Abandoned, it's now considered like potentially a Hideo Kojima project as well. It's considered almost like a Silent Hill project, like under the radar. A lot of people are just thinking that Hideo Kojima is being Hideo Kojima.
Right. He's a troll.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. I mean, we can go back to Metal Gear Solid 2, where they just released footage where you play a Solid Snake. The whole, like, you know, going out to E3, that's all you played as. Yeah. And everyone was like, yeah, Snake! Woo! Snake back again. And then, like, Raiden showed up and everyone was like, what the fuck is this shit? Even though I was like, ooh, I like Raiden. I like him a lot. Can we get a SETI? So, okay, this game got attributed to as just being PT. But this game, it's interesting. Like with the Bluebird team, there wasn't a lot of conspiracy theories going around. Right. It was just a leak. Yeah. Like somebody was like leaked false information, essentially.
Leaky faucet.
Yeah. But the Abandoned game has so much like almost folklore like involved.
I love it.
Yeah. The drama and the internet is amazing. Woo! So basically the game director, I'm going to go down the conspiracy theory list. Okay. So basically the game came out, or the trailer came out, and there wasn't a lot of like hype around it, I would say. And then people started like realizing that the game was kind of mysterious in a lot of ways, because the game like company that's making it is Blue Box Games, BB Games. So they haven't made any games. I think they made maybe one release before, but it's like you can't really access the game. Yeah. So right away, it's, you know, not much out there in terms of their like company, and I think their company's really new. I think it started a year after the trailer for PT came out. Oh damn! It started a year after that, so very fresh company. But wow! And so basically, first off, Blue Box Games, they've already come out. They're like, no, we're not related to Silent Hill. We have nothing to do with Konami. We're an actual game company. We aren't Hideo Kojima pretending to have a fake gaming company. Like, because Kojima, like, did actually have, like, a fake gaming company. Right. I'm going to pull it up. Yeah, so Metal Gear 5 was announced by Moby Dick Studio before it was revealed as a Kojima game. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, he came out with that as a fake company to, like, get he just loves this. He loves doing this.
I love that. I wish I had a big project that I could put that much work into, like, creating a false identity for.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. But basically, like, so if you go on their website, if you go on their Facebook, if you go on their LinkedIn, you know, all the Blue Box Games websites, they all deny it. So they're like, no, we have nothing to do with, like, Konami. Again, stop harassing us at this point. Stop! We really were real. Like, they tell people that they're real. Oh. Which I think is, like, the guy came on recently, the conspiracy theorists were like, his first name begins with an H and his last name begins with a K. Yeah. But he came out with a video, like, face to face. He's like, I'm sorry, guys, we have to delay the trailer. Because they were actually going to be along the lines of Dying Light 2. Yes. They were actually being really cool and, like, progressive, because they're releasing an app you can download on your phone.
That's really cool.
To play the game.
Yeah.
Like the playable trailer, which is like playable trailer. I'm like, PT? But he's like, I'm sorry, everyone's stressed. We're not gonna be able to get it out on time. It was supposed to be released already. I'm sorry. Yeah. And I was like, man, do you think like the harassment from online community, like, saying like you don't exist,
was so like, scathing? Everyone's like,
yeah. But I'm gonna get to what I think is actually the thing at the end. But anyway, so let's get into like the conspiracies. So, okay, this is them saying it on their Twitter. We wanted to answer the rumors one last time. We are a small indie studio with actual real people.
Oh, yeah.
Working on a passionate game. We want to do a live stream with Q&A and make sure that you can ask all your questions to clarify every confusion and rumor that you may have. We just want to have and set expectations. BB Games Studio official Twitter. Yes, so they're really like on the bandwagon of like stop harassing us.
They're like, we're real.
Yeah. But also like BB Games. So BB Games, one of the conspiracy theories is that BB in Death Stranding is like the bait with BB.
Right.
So they think BB, they think Death Stranding, they think Kojima. Also, Kojima came out with an Instagram post where he was holding a blue box.
Mm-hmm.
No caption.
Yep.
Holding it. And they're like, blue box? BB? Death Stranding? You made that shit. So that's where the
lot of coincidence, Mary.
Yes. And then, so, anyway. So, the conspiracy theories. So, I already talked about BB Games. But also, their YouTube page has hills in the background. So, people think they have hills in the background of their YouTube page. Has to be Silent Hills, right? Also, Kojima tweet alluding to Silent and Hill. So, Kojima had released another post in a tweet alluding to silent, the word silent quotation, and the word hill quotation. That was it. And then fans have noticed the letters P and T that are covered by trees in the abandoned teaser trailer. So in the trailer, if you watch it, and I did watch it a few times, after after seeing them allude to the PT, I could see it, but I had to watch that first.
Right.
Like when I watched it the first time, I was like,
you're just like, oh wow.
Yeah. But okay, so PT in the trees. So look out for that if you watch the trailer. Basically the logo for this game, and it's funny. The game designer, the game director, they actually tracked his PlayStation account, which is kind of weird also that they could do that. But they saw that he played a game called Demon Blood, which doesn't exist in the PlayStation Network. Yeah. So they're assuming that that is just his game that he's trying out on the PS5. Oh. Yes. But that logo, I guess they saw the logo for it. It's a handprint. Much like in Death Stranding, how there's handprints. It's looked like the same handprint. So that's another thing. Wow. Yeah. And then also, so BB Game Studios, the actual company with real people, according to the game, they canceled a game that was called Lost Tapes. That was the only other game that they had on their agenda. And it was called Lost Tapes. So that's the name of a song that's on the Metal Gear 5 soundtrack. Yes. So, and also they actually went into the logistics of the time difference between the Netherlands, because this game company takes place they're in the Netherlands. That's where their main hub is, and they took the time difference between Japan and the Netherlands and tweets that were coming out about the game. Yeah, and they were like, "This is totally Kojima just tweeting at this time, because this makes more sense." Right. For this time, they wouldn't tweet at 2 or 3 or 4 a.m. Right. Their time. So they're like, "Oh, it's got to be him." Yeah. There's a time difference. And I'm like, I just think it's so fascinating how people have gone so far. Right. To just be like, this is what it is. This is what because people want it so desperately. And that's the first game that I can think of that people, it's a heated debate. It's it's people hate Konami for not letting that game happen. Yeah. And they will make it known that they want it to be a thing. Yeah. And I honestly feel it's not PT. I don't think it's Silent Hills. I don't think it's Kojima. I think it's a company that's actually trying to make a scary game. We're real. Yeah, they're probably inspired by Silent Hill. They're probably inspired by PT. Yeah. Look, a couple years later, it is PT. It is Silent Hill. I got. Oh, Kojima got me again. But oh my god. But I think that because also I didn't mention the other conspiracy theory. BB Games Blue Box Studio released a tweet that they were trying to get their fans to I guess be more engaged. So they were coming out with these little puzzles or quizzes, and if they answered correctly, they would DM them a prize, essentially. So they were first letter S, second letter H. Yeah. And it's and so people were and they're no. Yeah, and they're no, sorry, we didn't mean Silent Hill. Sorry, we meant sour Hilly. Sorry, Hilly. So I can see why people are connecting all these dots, because people are probably they want it so badly that they're creating the illusion. Right, exactly. And I think what it really is maybe because they are a new studio. I'm not saying anything against Blue Box Studios, but maybe they're riding the hype train. They're riding that train a little bit to get their game out there and get it publicized and get people talking about it. Yeah. In order for sales. because they're doing it in a legal way.
Oh,
they're not doing anything illegally.
And that would also be really smart.
Yes, insanely smart, because everyone's talking about the game right now.
Right.
If you look into like, especially people that are into survival horror games, that's what they're thinking about. People that want to play PT that never got to.
Oh my god.
People that like want Silent Hill to happen. Those people are really paying attention to this right now because they might be thinking, oh, this is definitely Silent Hill. And then also the Bloober thing, how that got tied into it. Yeah. There's even more hype. So like they're bringing in all these different companies. All I'm saying, Konami, is like,
make Silent Hill.
Make Silent Hill, because you make so much money. Like so much money. And it's insane if you want to buy like a Silent Hill now on the PS2 or the PS3. Those are so expensive.
Oh yeah.
The Silent Hill 2 is $200 to buy a hard copy. And like you can't play that really anywhere else.
Yeah.
So like you have to spend that money to play it. So people are paying out the butt for these games.
Yeah.
People want it. Make it, Konami.
We need it.
Make it. Like,
I mean, it's like you could make so much money because we all want Silent Hill. Even people who don't know Silent Hill want Silent Hill.
Yeah. They're like looking at, like, they're not playing games at all, and they're like, God, I really wish I could be playing Silent Hill right now.
I really wish that we had a new Silent Hill game.
And they're like, oh, I didn't know you play games. I don't.
What are you? I'm like, what are you?
Anyway, I wanted to talk about it because
it's so good.
I thought it was so fascinating because it combines this like need and want in this community, and also the delusion that comes and like the conspiracy theories and just how far people will go to make something that's not even what they want a reality. They're trying to make it a reality. They're like, I want it so bad, and I do too. Trust me. Yeah, when all these leaks were coming out, all this stuff, I was like, oh, it's Silent Hill. Yeah. I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, we're about to play some Silent Hill.
And then it wasn't. And I was like, oh. But real studio with real people.
Yeah, but we get Death Stranding director's cut.
Is this going to be PlayStation's new thing? Are they just going to start director's cutting everything?
Probably.
Last of Us Part 2 director's cut?
Dumb Spyro Part 2.
Dumb Spyro director's cut, even though it got scrapped.
Yeah. Oh my god. Probably. I mean, that's a way to make money. Yeah. Without doing that much work. I mean, you do work. Like, it's of course the director's cut's like work. I'm not saying it's not work.
Yeah.
Directors out there. Jeez.
Directors, stop coming for us in the comments.
Jeez. Freaking Peter Jackson over there. But I do think it takes less work to make. I mean, honestly though, like, if anyone's gonna like sit on the throne of sitting around and just making money off the same game, it's got to be Rockstar for Grand Theft Auto 5. They take that throne every day. They just sit on that throne and they're like, we've made things over like billions of dollars.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I am not gonna play Death Stranding director's cut.
Oh no.
I have no interest in it. They already got my money.
Yeah. They got my money one time.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't get my money, but they got Mary's money.
Yeah, and then you came over and you watched it.
And I was like, thank God I didn't pre-order this.
Yeah. Because I pre-ordered it, and I was one of the losers, like, waiting for the clock to go down. Going, like, I had, like, snacks ready, and I was like, I took the day off of work.
I remember that, yeah.
And then I told one of my friends at work, sorry, Rashid, that to get the game, because I was like, yeah, it looks so cool.
Oh, you made Rashid pay $60?
Yeah, he hates me for it. I'm sorry.
Well, that's fine.
Rashid he's okay with us though. He's gonna be one of the guests coming on later one day.
One day more.
But anyway, they're not getting my money. They already did. Hideo Kojima just come out with a Silent Hill. Konami, what the fuck are you doing?
And that is that on that. Period. We didn't talk about vaginas.
We didn't. I just started my period. Oh
fuck!
Got him.
Also, can I just point out that this beer is called Gummy Worms?
Does it taste like gummy bears?
No. It's a chewy pale ale. I don't know what that means. It's not chewy, and I don't really know anything about beer, so.
I think beer companies and like a lot of alcohol companies can get away with using buzzwords.
Yeah.
For like no reason.
Everything's a hazy IPA. I don't even know what that means.
It means you're hazy when you drink it. Like in the heat, you have heat stroke. This beer gives you heat stroke.
I'm just like, you're like, are you okay? And I'm like,
I'm drinking a hazy IPA.
I'm having a heat stroke.
I'm like, do you need a doctor?
I'm like, it smells like burnt toast.
I'm like, yes!
And I'm like, because I burn toast.
And I'm like, you got me.
You're like, wait, I don't have a toaster. And I'm like, Well, anyway, yeah. Wow, I think this is the first episode where we've talked about games the whole time.
Mm-hmm. It's refreshing.
Just like this beer.
Just like that chewy burnt toast beer.
Well, as per usual, thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, tell us how ugly we are.
Hey! Yes.
Yes.
Tell us the truth.
Don't lie to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can follow our YouTube page. You can follow the podcast on iTunes and Spotify.
Mm-hmm. We were ranked on iTunes.
We were, so keep engaging so we can rank higher. We should see if we can breach the top 100.
Yes.
That would be pretty cool.
Billboards, baby.
You can follow me and not Mary.
Not I.
Mary does not have socials. But you can follow me on Instagram.
I don't have social security.
She's not a person.
I don't exist.
You can follow me on Twitter at, I think it's Prince Tortellini now. And my Instagram is King Tortellini. So we have the whole bloodline.
Love that.
But yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
God bless.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.